There are timestamps down in the description box below in case you want to skip some scenes in this video to the type of content that you want to see inside of this video. Also, apparently some of the people who have been watching my videos are more so not subscribed than they are subscribed. So if you like seeing these videos, please subscribe because it helps me out a lot and it encourages me to continue doing more videos. Now that we got that out of the way, let's go ahead and get to the actual video where I react to some of my followers on Instagram, their unpopular opinions or hot takes on Star Wars content. One person said, did not like The Mandalorian as much as people told me I would. He said, it's not that I didn't like anything, it just wasn't that compelling for me. I lost interest after a bit. This person also said, I didn't get to season 2 yet, but I guess Din Djarin kind of felt boring after the first few episodes. I absolutely loved the first 4, but after that, he wasn't as interesting to watch. Kind of felt like an FPS video game character with no lines like in BioShock. Maybe Din Djarin has something more to fight for in addition to the child. Is that something that happens? Like, it might be interesting to see him conflicted over his two interests, just something to spice up his character. Okay, I responded to this guy's comment, and I think what I said is that it's not necessarily that much different compared to the first episode, but there is actually something that I did forget that did happen in Season 2 that is a little bit of a spice to his character in Season 2. Not necessarily coming into conflict with Baby Yoda, or with Grogu, I should say. There is hesitation to the rules that he usually abides by when he signs up to become a Mandalorian that's different compared to people like Bo-Katan. And he does have to make these decisions on whether or not he should break these rules that he's used to knowing in order to help save this kid. I can't remember if they went into full detail about that season. I would need to rewatch the show again in order for me to confirm what it is I'm talking about. But either way, I still disagree with this guy. I think that Din Djarin is actually a very fascinating character. Every single line of dialogue and visuals that's put on screen when it comes to this character, it's all necessary and it's very important, and I understood everything that's going on with this guy, and I found some of the episodes like episode 6, 7, and 8 to be pretty interesting, in my opinion. I found those episodes to be either fun or fascinating to watch. And fun fact, not a lot of people like episode 6. I thought that was a very fun episode. Not episode 5, that one's not good. Prequels are better representatives of the Star Wars universe than the sequels because it has a vision. Even if misguided, it's clearly done by a superior storyteller and a one-of-a-kind visionary. Dang, speaking some truth into that. The thing that makes people love Star Wars mostly, at least what makes me love Star Wars, is the storytelling, the mythology, and the characters, their adventures and journey that they go through. That's pretty relatable to how we work into real life, and they incorporated that into the sci-fi epic. That's the thing that makes the prequels a lot better and more intriguing to the Star Wars universe than the sequels did. The sequels seemed like that they were just acting very random. They had no idea what kind of lore or mystery that they were trying to create in order to expand the universe, and they were just creating these random characters that have random powers and just saying, hey, it's Star Wars because they can do it. But the problem is that they have effort put into them, and whether or not you like or dislike the prequels, they had effort put into it. And while, yeah, there is definitely effort with the acting and the visuals and the action for the Star Wars sequels, that's not the prime reason why we enjoyed watching the movies, though. That's part of the reason, but that's not the complete package. So I totally get what this guy is talking about. I really loved what they did with The Last Jedi, but it should have been its own storyline, separate from the J.J. Abrams story. This is definitely true. J.J. Abrams and Rian Johnson are two completely different visionary directors with different ambitions on what they would want to do for the Star Wars universe. Even though there were like different directors that were passed on to other people in the original Star Wars trilogy, there was still consistency. There was still somebody in charge that knew what they wanted the beginning, middle, and end to be like. And even with the visuals, the atmosphere, the mythology of it, it was still cohesive. With The Force Awakens, it seemed like it knew what kind of rules it wanted to establish, but then when Rian Johnson came in, it was completely different. Probably something that not a lot of people would be that big of a fan of, but I didn't mind it that much. Some of it I found it to be pretty annoying, like at least the stuff that was going on with Finn and Rose and all of that stuff with the rich people just abusing animals. That type of world, I don't like at all. But then again, some of the lore that they had in with the Force, Rey, Kylo, and Snoke, I didn't mind it that much. It felt different, and I thought it was unique to expand on the franchise. So I agree, if that was a separate kind of Star Wars movie, or if Rian Johnson had his own Star Wars trilogy, I think it would have been a fascinating trilogy. Also, Force Unleashed storyline is hella underrated. I don't know this game. I've heard a bunch of pretty good reviews, but it's not necessarily getting well known as, say, like, you know, the movies or the shows have been getting. I mean, I'm not necessarily a video game player, so I don't really have much of a say in this, but any time that there is more content or lore into the universe of Star Wars, I'm open for it. So maybe one day I will play the game, and I will agree with this dude. New Luke from Episode 8. I know a lot of people hated the fact that the guy who literally saved the whole galaxy became such a hollow shell, but I kinda like that he is in this film. Proves that he's just a human and that he is vulnerable to normal human emotion. He failed Ben Solo, which is the son of one of his best friends. He's broken now, and I think that would be enough to drive anyone into being a former shadow of themselves. Overall, The Last Jedi as a film, I've never hated it, but it does a lot of things which made me mad. But I do like this new version of Luke. That is something that I agree with as well. I didn't mind the story that Luke had in The Last Jedi. I actually explained this in this video that I collaborated with Adam Daly, where we talk about whether or not The Last Jedi is good or bad. And I defended the storyline that was from Luke Skywalker. Now, would I prefer him to be, like, as wise as Yoda, becoming a lot more grand and wanting to, like, rise against the Empire once again? I mean, yeah, that is a good version that I like for him to be in, but I think the character would have been a lot more interesting if he did have some conflict in the beginning and then went towards that rise. The biggest problem is that they decided to kill him off at the end of the film. They tried to give an excuse why he was dead because he actually fulfilled his purpose. He didn't fulfill anything. He decided to find his faith back, but his actual purpose was to help go against the Empire again. But they decided to say, no, he's done. He doesn't need to come back again. That's such a waste. You could have saved him in the third trilogy and have him fight against the Empire again. I also asked this question on Instagram on what is something that people like from the Star Wars universe, but a lot of other people hated. And I got some short responses here. This person said Marie Tran. And I agree with that. I think that her acting skills is not bad. The character I didn't necessarily care for. It's just that she didn't necessarily do much to advance the whole Star Wars universe. I just think it's mostly the story that they created that's the problem. This person said Hayden, and I'm pretty sure it's related to Hayden Christensen. I won't lie, he's definitely got bad line reading. I feel like that some of the lines that were delivered, at least in episode 1, 2, and occasionally in 3, he's definitely gotten some dialogue that's very hard for him to act as a serious actor. But occasionally, he can actually lead into some very powerful moments for Anakin Skywalker. I think episode 3 is where he puts into the emotion of Anakin Skywalker at his strongest. This person said Jar Jar Binks. I don't love him or anything, but he's just another obnoxious character. I don't know what the hate is about. Rose, if anything, is the most annoying character. I can say that I think the biggest problem that people have with Jar Jar Binks is that he was aimed to be a lot more rated G kid-friendly to kids, because Star Wars material was mainly made for kids. Even though they get more an emotional attachment towards these characters as an adult, seeing a character like Jar Jar Binks just going like, Misa goes like this, ooh, Piusa! It takes them out of the mood that they're not really in the Star Wars universe. Also, highly disagree that Rose is more annoying than Jar Jar Binks. I personally don't understand that at all. Star Wars The Last Jedi isn't the worst Star Wars movie. He also said, I think a lot of people look at the bad instead of the good. For example, how they treated Luke, the relationship between Finn and the other girl, can't remember her name, and how Snoke just died, basically. However, there are a lot of good too. For example, this movie was probably the best looking Star Wars movie ever. The ending fight, in my opinion, was awesome, and Kylo Ren really shined in this movie. When I first watched this movie, I didn't understand the hate, and to be honest, I still kind of don't. I believe the worst Star Wars movie is either Attack of the Clones or The Rise of Skywalker. Absolutely agree, I think Attack of the Clones and The Rise of Skywalker are way worse movies than The Last Jedi. And I agree that this movie probably isn't as terrible as people are saying that it is. It's just that it's frustrating to watch because all of the things that Rian Johnson wants to build up that feel like they're subverting expectations but can work within the story didn't seem like they lead up to anything else because he closed off those stories in The Last Jedi. There's no room for J.J. Abrams or Colin Trevorrow that was going to do the third Star Wars movie. There's no room for them on how they wanted the Star Wars franchise to finish out or where they were going to have the conclusion head towards. Kylo Ren, I will agree, he's the only thing that was consistently good through all 3 movies, even though like in the third one, it's like, do you really want to see him redeemed? Probably not, but that's probably the safest way for him to go in order for us to, like, you know, still like the guy. This person said Solo is a good movie. It's fun. His other reasons why he likes it is Han and Chewie and Emilia Clarke and Woody Harrelson's characters. And I asked him why he liked Woody Harrelson's character because I thought he was bland. He says, I'm just biased because I like Woody Harrelson. See, here's the thing with me about this movie. I don't hate it, but when people are saying that this was a good, fun time, I don't get it. It feels bland, bleak, the color scheme is really gray and dull. The new characters that they introduced were all wooden. They were trying to create other stuff just to have Star Wars fantasy lore that has no consistency. It's just bleak, non-interesting. If it was just a movie about Han Solo going off and doing his own thing with Donald Glover as Lando, then this movie would have been fun, but it wasn't that. It was just a weird movie with weird characters. They wanted to be bigger than it was trying to do. What this movie should have been is the show Mandalorian. That show right there gave me a great time. It was simple and easy to understand, and it was a lot of fun. Nothing that huge or big going on, just a great time watching it for all the fun that's in it. I just don't get it. I just don't get this movie, man. You know what? That's perfectly fine, and with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and thank you to all of the people on Instagram who commented their unpopular opinions or their hot takes on the Star Wars universe. I'm glad that you guys got to go ahead and talk about all of the things that you wanted to say about this universe or this franchise, because it's very interesting to see what some people have to say about this universe, even though it's not necessarily something that a lot of people would agree on. And that's what this channel is for. But anyways, what do you guys think about these comments, or what are your unpopular opinions on the Star Wars universe? Put them down in the comments section below, and let's have a conversation about it. And like this video if you agree with what I say, or dislike this video if you disagree with what I say. I don't mind the dislikes. So that is it I have for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll be sure to see you in the next video.